Congratulations to all of you. First on a season 2 pickup before we get to these episodes. Yay.
Thank you.
And also that this series debuted at #1, was in the global top 10 for 5 consecutive weeks. Tina, nearly 37 million people tuned in. So there are good shows, and then there are good shows that nearly 37 million people tune in for. What was it about this show that you think like connected and like struck that chord?
Tracy Wakefield and Lang Fisher, the other showrunners, and I were so delighted and I don't even want to say surprised, but just delighted that the viewership was that immediate out of the gate. I was saying that I don't think I've ever been a part of anything except maybe like playing Sarah Palin. I've never been a part of anything that so many people saw so immediately. And you can sort of always tell anecdotally, you get a bunch of texts from people you went to high school with or actors you worked with a long time ago, and you're like, oh wow, people are watching this. And so for us, we were just really gratified because we wanted to make this show in this different, gentle, sort of comforting tone. And we're just really happy. It's like, I love Severance and I love White Lotus, and I'm so grateful that everyone loves those, and they also found room in their hearts for this other tone.
Yeah.
I hope that you'll do the rest of the panel as Sarah Palin. I think we're all thinking that.
Only if Marco sings every answer.
Yes, of course. Please.
When you co-create a show and you're writing and everything, were you always like, Kate's mine, Kate's mine?
Well, yes, because I knew that I wasn't right to play Anne, and then and I kept saying I want to play Ginny, and they're like, you no, but then with the shift of Danny and Claudia in the original film, and then it became Danny and Claude, so really there were no other parts for me, but I did, because I loved in the original movie the way Alan Alda and Carol Burnett's characters fight. In the movie, I was like, I want to have those fights, and I want to angrily brush my hair and fight.
Yeah, exactly. Kerri, Anne shows I love her so much. She's a character that who I think people know you so much from comedy, and you show this beautiful, dramatic side of your talent. I mean, there's so much vulnerability and pain and wisdom and revenge. I mean, like there's so much that you get to tackle in this. So I'm curious, what was it about Anne that you were most excited to do?
Well, it's all in the script, and I promised I wouldn't spend this panel talking about gratitude, but thank you, Tina. I mean, you just said it. It's all there. Who doesn't want to play the underdog that everyone roots for? Who doesn't want to play someone that gets to take a full journey in the way that she does? Who doesn't want to me, this idea lately of, is this a comedy? Is this a drama? Is this a dramedy? Is this all the things? It reminds me, in a sense, of when I watched the 4 Seasons to be in the first place, the movie in 1981, which is like, this is just life. Sometimes it's really funny, and then a second later, it's really, really sad. So to get to play this person that you root for in a playground like that gets to have all the feelings, it's a dream.
Marco, Coleman Domingo, who's a friend of yours, it was his idea, right? That you play Claude. First of all, he's such a good friend. Like everyone needs a friend like Coleman.
Yes.
Clearly.
It's a great friend, yes. Look what you did.
And also, I'm so curious because you directed the film High Tide, which came out, which is wonderful. And what was it? I mean, did Coleman say, "Hey, I'm telling them like you'd be great for this role"? And what were your feelings about acting when you had sort of like been focusing on directing?
Well, to be honest, when he called me to say, "Hey, I had a vision," and my husband actually, Raul, had a vision for you for this role, but he didn't tell me what it was for. So, and he was smart because I would have freaked out initially. I haven't acted in 16 years, and it felt too big for me, like to not what I was building for myself. And then of course, when I did the whole process, the real one, and audition, call back, etc. And then I was aware of what it was, and then it took me a minute, and then I mean, it was hard to say no, not just to the opportunity to work with amazing talents and to explore different sides of me, but also, you mentioned my film, My Tide, is quite intense, it's dramatic. My work as a writer-director has a different voice. And here I had the opportunity at this tender age to just navigate a total different part of myself. I mean, I had to find Claude in me, you know, and so that was pretty exciting and scary. And to this day, honestly, so I mean, I'm quite grateful for the whole, not just to Coleman, but for whatever this thing keeps on giving to me and to all of us.
Yeah. Erika, we didn't see Ginny in these 2 episodes,
But I do show up. I'm not an
she
imposter.
does show
She
up.
did
I am in
craft-
the show.
She did craft service for the first couple episodes.
doing
It was
here?
Wonderful.
Wait, I'm not supposed
she
to
did
be in another
peanut butter
panel.
crackers.
Who is she?
The exploding house is not just a metaphor. I mean, or it is a metaphor of what is coming up in the rest of the episodes. In case anyone here has not finished the season, and Erika,
I am the exploding house.
I'm curious because you and Tina have worked together a bunch of times before. Mean Girls, Girls5eva, and was it like, hey, I have this role, what would you think of this? Because one of the things I love so much about your performance as Ginny is that I think that character can be really easy to hate.
Yeah.
And you never hate her.
Yes. Well, we've talked about this. I went through the process, the audition process, but I did get the script and I went, oh, I feel like I have a similar core to this person, which is just a core of not just wanting to be liked, but just wanting everybody to have a good time and trying to figure out how do I adapt to the situation and people's personalities to make sure that I'm creating a good environment. And so I sent it off to Tina, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be like too eager. But may I share this? You did text me maybe like the next day, and all you wrote was, "That was a great tape, XO Tina," or just like XO, and I went, "Okay, good." We got through. I was like, that's all I wanted. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, Erika went through the process, and we read a lot of wonderful actresses, and it was really a needle to thread because even just age-wise, you know, Steve is, I think, 62 or whatever, and like the difference between a 32-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman becomes disgusting. And
so true.
And so, you know, I was happy that I was able, between Sherry and Sharon, our casting directors who were brilliant, and Tracy and Lang, Erika came through the process, and I was able to kind of lay back and not have to put my thumb on the scale. And after the callback, I remember I was like quiet on the Zoom, and they were all like, "Well, obviously it was Erika," and I was like, "Yeah, it was Erika."
Since it's a room of actors, I'm so curious. Do you have, when you do an audition for this show or otherwise, are you like, nailed it, I'm getting this role?
Never. Well, do you have that confidence? I don't.
It was the first audition I did after so long. I remember I was so kind of wanting it but detached at the same time. It was a weird feeling that I remember in the callback, they even asked me, "Do you want to do scene 1 again?" And I was like, "No." and then I told my husband, who's an actor as well, and he was like, "What did you say? No, you have to do everything they want." I said, "But they asked me. I didn't have anything else to give." I got the offer the day after. But,
That's the
to be
trick.
honest, I ask unless you have specific notes or directions you give me. You want me to try something specific. But
No,
back then
you
only
blew it. It sounds like you blew it.
when you have only one scene, you don't even know the arc of your character. Really, you don't know him.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about a few scenes in these 2 episodes that we just saw. Tina and Kerri, I was wondering if you could talk about, there's the scene that the 2 of you have that is such a tender moment when Kate goes over and is ready to sort of tell her, you know, like, hey, your husband's about to leave you, kind of thing. And Kerri, you give that great monologue about the BMW.
That was all improv.
You're so good. Do you remember? I mean, it's something that I loved it, and again, it's sort of like I think a lot of people are like waiting for that laugh moment, and it's such a moment of depth and of deep friendship and of compassion, and it's one of my favorite moments of both of your performances.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. I mean, Kerri was splendid in that moment, and obviously, so much of it relies on her, and I'm just listening. Sometimes when I rewatch it, like I had to watch
Tina,
it so much.
acting is reacting.
Acting is reacting. Acting is thinking of
your pencils
how you're
out.
the best. But sometimes when I would watch it in the edit room, I realized I was stuck in this thing that on somewhere along the line in college, somewhere, some teacher taught us like, oh, you should always have your mouth at least a little bit open so you're receiving. And so for some reason I took that to heart. And now I watch this stuff and I look at myself and I'm like, bitch, close your mouth. And at one time I did a movie once with a real array of actors. One time I did this movie called This Is Where I Leave You, and it was like Jane Fonda, Corey Stoll, Jason Bateman, Adam Driver, and I was like, "Did you guys any of you ever hear this mouth thing?" And they all were like, "No, close your mouth." So anyway, season 2, get ready for me to close my mouth.
I think we would have had 40 million viewers, but this one wouldn't shut her mouth.
Kerri, do you remember that? I mean, that and then also the vows, I think, are so good. I mean, beautifully written, beautifully acted. I mean, all of it. Do you love getting to sort of dig into those long monologues?
Yeah, who wouldn't? I mean, those are the monologues. I have so many monologues in this show that would be the monologue
You poor
that you
thing.
would pull. Please, I'm exhausted.
Feel for you.
Please.
Meanwhile, so often Marco was like, "I don't have any lines."
Can I get some of hers?
You have a song.
He would like ad lib just like a little something.
If my voice is hoarse, it's because of all of my monologues that we shot 1 year ago. But I felt like, wait, what were we talking
About how you the wedding vows.
Yeah. I had so many to sink my teeth into that it was literally at the end of it, I felt like I had a little book that you could sell to universities for audition monologues.
I had those books.
You know, that there was just so much and so many levels and so many, and I've said this before and I will keep saying it, I just kept saying to Tina and Tracy and Lang is like, I don't expect to be good in this, but I just don't want to break it. I just don't want to ruin it because I do talk so much. And oh boy, if
the contrary,
you can only fast forward so much.
Marco, we get to, I'm going to ask you about Shania Twain. Tell me about the performance itself is great. I want to hear what that day was like. And also and it's a split second, but the look that you give Coleman is such perfection. It's like,
Thank you.
there's like a novel in that, And tell me, first of all, tell me about that song. And the rest of you, I'm guessing you had a blast getting to listen to Marco.
Well, I swear to God, when I got the script, I couldn't believe that I was singing in the show. And I was like, they didn't even ask if I can sing. And maybe I'm losing right now the part. And I don't even know. But then, I was familiar, obviously, with the song. And then prior to go to set, I had some rehearsals with a fantastic music team. Tina, they've worked with Tina already, also on Broadway, I believe. And anyway, so I was prepared, but you're never prepared to sing for an audience. Like what I never thought is that it's a vows renewal ceremony. There were actual people, strangers, like a bunch. I would say 50 people. Suddenly, it was the first day we had extras, I believe, on set. And that I didn't calculate that part. But if it was frightening initially, then it became actually the fuel of that's what kept me going, because generally everybody was enjoying it. So that's the singing part. The reaction, it took quite 3 hours, I believe, to shoot that. They covered every possible angle. So by then I was like, tea and ginger and lemon and please. But and the look to Coleman, I don't know. That is good preparation. We had a great chemistry with Coleman. Obviously, knowing each other already helped a lot. The way the characters are written also, no matter what they're going through right now, when we meet them in the show, they have a strong bond. They have passion still. They love each other, I believe. They're just going through a huge transformation, and they don't know how to navigate that transformation, and if they have to navigate it together. But there is this bond. And honestly, also Claude, which is not how I act differently in life, but he is not afraid of showing everything he feels. Not just showing it, also saying it aloud.
Yeah. You know, I realized that, and this might be a term that will be new to you, Marco, because it's like an American comedy writer term. But what you've done in that scene is you're banking a lot of turns. Like, you know, when you drive a car on a windy road. So, and what we were all like, I was like, I knew Marco was going to be warm and lovely, but I didn't expect him to be able to bank the turns. If he looks at Coleman, he wants to murder Coleman. He realizes everyone's listening. He doesn't want to ruin the wedding. He goes back to being, and you see all of that wash over your face in like 1 second. And the way you know that that's such a realistically real life portrayed moment is it reminds me of Macron getting shoved in the face. And then he's like, hey, everybody. Like that, like you gave us that before you even knew that's what it was.
Thank you.
So true. It's so true.
Come on.
Erika, since we don't see your scenes here, I did want to ask you about in the finale, and everyone's seen the season. Yes.
No.
So, okay, all right. So then I'm gonna couch
Tonight.
this.
Watch it tonight.
Right. I will say in the last episode, you and Kerri have a beautiful scene together of which, as you know, could be awkward, and I won't spoil what leads to it. And you also give this kind of speech about Steve, and I loved those so much. And I was wondering if there was some part of Ginny that you were that like getting to play some texture or some kind of part of her character that you really loved.
I mean, I was so happy. That was the first scene that we had together. And it's supposed to be in winter, but it was like 80 degrees and you could hear mosquitoes buzzing still in upstate New York. But it was so, I felt like for that scene, there was this pressure on it, or I felt this pressure of, we got to deliver something really emotional here. And I don't know. I feel like what ended up happening was Kerri's such a present scene partner. It was kind of easy to just let that go and just meet the moment because she was so present, and I didn't feel like I had to muscle something because you're doing it enough times. Some of the emotion is not going to be there. And I realized that scene, because of that, it became a lot less about, yes, there's emotion about Steve's character, but it really was more about the connection that we form in those lines. And it sort of is this unspoken bond that carries over to this final scene when you extend the olive branch to me and let me say the words about Nick. And so I just loved, we shot that, was that all on the same day? All I remember at the end of the day, we were so hungry and Will kept eating the prop pasta. Like they kept refilling. I think it was all in one day.
That's the only thing they don't feed you on these.
Not in the budget. But that was very, the two women from different sort of generations, like looking at one another and finding equal footing. That to me was what the scene became about. I thought it was about loss, but it became about that because of working with Kerri and feeling it out in the moment.
There's so many layers to that scene, and I found one of them, or I hope I conveyed it on the shoot date that I didn't really see when it was on the page, which is also this thing of wanting approval from younger me. You know, like, did I do it okay? Did I turn into what I was supposed to turn into? Yeah. Like, I'm looking in a mirror, but it's old me. Yeah. And it's fresh and it's beautiful and it's hopeful, and I don't feel that way. Yeah. And when you give that approval, when Ginny gives that approval, like, you know, it just is, she sinks and gets to sink into herself in a way that I think she, but I didn't see that until, I don't do much homework. Like, I get the script, I'm like, What time are we shooting? I'll be there at noon.
But you know, Kerri, somehow it is true that at first sight, even when we read the script, it feels like beautifully written and it feels like a lot of punchlines. But then when you start working on it, truly that you find the subtext is right there. It's written right there underneath every single line, and a lot of room and space for us to add all those truths that we can put into our characters, into our scene. It makes complete sense what you're saying.
And you get to do it without feeling like you're overdoing it, because the writing doesn't overdo it. You know, they never say, I won't say the things, but a lot of the things are never said, but you don't say them in real life, you know?
Yeah. What was it like, all of you getting, getting to know each other and getting comfortable, since your performances have to feel, I mean, Eric, other than yours, who kind of joins this club, but they have to feel so lived in, and like there's so much history and love between these people. So what was that like? Did you all spend time together in advance?
I mean, not in advance. No, even our table reads were over Zoom, the first several table reads, because most people were in Los Angeles and I live here in New York, and then I think you were like on your honeymoon in Italy, the one table read, and we were like, yeah, great, you got married, get on the table read. 105 just dropped.
I read about a story about destroying marriage. Great, thanks for the gift.
Read about how you're doing. But I think we all sort of understood that, like, part of the gig was to relax and enjoy each other. And so some of the first things we shot were those like around the dinner table with the crawfish and sitting out by the fire. And also we're all, except those two are younger, but like we're pretty much all the same age. We have like even Kerri, who I somehow had never met before, like we have such similar backgrounds that it was quite easy, I think.
The person that I had to be the closest with, that is so true. My favorite thing was watching Tina and Coleman talk about Philadelphia. And
Every
just, it was
single day.
like, it was just so cool watching them like relive their childhood in real time, being like, oh, that place, that was amazing. Like, it was
Their own
wild.
accent.
The accents came out. It was so fun. That was like one of my favorite things. You did have that like shared texture. Steve was the person who I had to be the closest with from the jump. Like, we had to create a relationship really quickly. And I was thinking about, I was like, I mean, he never made me feel intimidated, but I come from a theater background, and like, you really dive in theater in a way where like, it's day one of rehearsal and you are very intimate with one another immediately. And I have never thought that has boded well in other situations in life, because people are like, okay, we just met. But in this, it really helped. And it really helped just sort of like immediately cross that threshold that I might have put up if I was nervous or shy or didn't come from that background, where we like immediately became on that first day on set together, like we crossed that divide. And I do think that was so wonderful, just to have that first day and be like, okay, that's through, now we can like keep going together. It was really fun.
For me, it was a little different also, because Claude is sort of like the last person who joined the group. They all went to college, I mean, besides Erika and Jeannie, but the main group, they all went to college together, and somehow Claude, a lot of his behavior and attitude and being so loud, being so present, being so caring, being too much, it comes because he wants to earn that spot at the table. He wants to earn their love, their attention. He wants to belong to this group, and he doesn't want to. He's also afraid to lose Danny and all of that. And somehow, I used my what the fuck am I doing here? Kind of a feeling at the beginning. Like, why am I casting? It made no sense until I was able to pour all that. Let's call it insecurity. Let's call it questioning into the character itself. So, and that created for me.
That's why that scene was so fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, twin flames. We're twin flames.
And that somehow, became my introduction to. It was easier once because I was honest.
Yeah. Who hated jumping in the lake the most?
I'll tell you what, we did it like was really early in the shoot, and we all were being very professional. We're like, well, we know it's going to be cold. It was late September, maybe. It's going to be a tough day. We'll get through it. We had a lot of meetings about like water safety, and the day of, we had so many. Maybe you guys, but so many meetings. You would have thought we were like going down in a sub, but it was. But the day we shot it was like the most blessed day. It was 80 degrees, sunny. The water was warm. We all were like, "This is the best."
Couldn't wait to get in the water.
Yeah,
We're all like, why don't we do this all the time?
we were really, really so lucky.
So season 2 underwater.
Season 2, it's well, that was a spoiler, Jessica, but the whole thing takes place underwater. It's a water colony.
A couple of kinks to work out with the submarine, but we're close.
You'll get there. Have you already started writing season?
Yes, I'm actually about a month in with the writers. We started, and it's been wonderful to be talking about you guys. I've been seeing these guys occasionally, and I won't tell them anything.
That was my next question. Who asks you the most?
Marco.
Okay. Take a minute to think.
He also pitches. You pitch things. Marco wants us to go to Italy, so he's really pitching Italy plot lines.
director. That's what I do.
Are you already? I mean, are you like just craving getting back into these characters?
I am. I mean, I don't want to rush you, but Thursday would be great. I just miss, somebody said to me today, they said, I watch the show, I feel like I'm part of this friend group. And I said, me too. Like I am part of this friend group of real human people. But when I watch the show, I feel like, well, I want to be part of that too. And I miss them. I miss being in that group. This is a great group to be into, and we have a lot of fun. But I also miss being in that world with those characters.
But my curiosity, I'm sorry if I'm stalking you about season 2. But
He has you hostage right now.
It's just that we, the writers now, and then us, we are free from the film. So I'm curious, where do we go? So there's definitely a lot of excitement to go back and explore. I mean, and we will know more about who they are, and in a way that we can't even imagine. They are imagining right now, but we can't. We don't know. What are you doing here?
Well, I think everyone here is so excited, and I feel like I already miss this friend group. So I can't wait. I mean, come on, Tina, let's go. Congratulations on the tremendous success on the season 2 pickup, on the number oneness for so long, and the millions of 37 million people who have watched. And I want to thank all of you for joining me. Erika Henningsen, Marco Calvani, Kerri Kenney-Silver, Tina Fey, and thank everyone
Jessica.
here
Thank
you
at
guys for coming out.
SAG-AFTRA.